You can catch Nerd Radio live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central. In between each segment will be samples of the songs you can hear during our live broadcast. Please enjoy. Ready? Is everyone ready? Are we ready for Nerd Radio? Your national nerd net radio direct? Are you? I don't think you are!
I don't know. It feels like they are. I mean, you screamed in their ear, so I would hope that they are.
You sons of bitches.
You know, having a little issue here, trying to. I really can't wait until I get anti-glare glasses, because like these kill me completely.
Do they kill you?
They do. Yeah, because I want people to see my eyes, and they can't normally see my eyes. So
yeah, that's okay. They're not much to look at.
Well,
you can't get lost.
Some would argue different.
Well, yeah, well, some suck dick.
Somebody once told me.
Well, anyways, so there goes our PG rating right out the bat. Do you think Ian still listens, or Ethan? Do you think he still listens to us?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
We went from
deep cut
bleeps to fuckity fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that Twitch gives us that. Hey, this is a parental content warning.
Put that sticker on right before we start. Anyways, hi guys, everybody. Welcome back to Nerd Radio, your national nerdnet radio direct, and your weekly nerdy news. We always start the show off little, you know. Yeah, we just talk a little bit. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm doing good. Yeah, got the Rona, or got heart problems. That was ridiculous. I'll tell you what. Like, I'm 33 years old, and I do like. I haven't really had any like major checkups or anything, which I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that's like, that's horrible. You need to get checked out or something. But it's just like freaking healthcare, okay? If somebody could make it worth my while to go, you know, I mean, even when I went to the ER, I was just the main thing I was terrified, and unfortunately it came true, but the main thing I was terrified wasn't necessarily dying. It was getting there, and then they couldn't do anything about it, which is exactly what happened. They didn't do anything there. However, I didn't get home until 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. And
I had to get a CAT scan. That was an interesting experience. Have you ever had to have something like that where they put the contrast fluids into you?
Well, I've never had to scan my kitty before.
I made the same joke. So the guy comes to transfer me to the CAT scan place, and he's like, "Hello, I'm here to transfer you. You're getting a CAT scan, apparently." I'm like, "Yes." Now, if you have an allergy to felines, is that going to be a problem? And he started to answer me like, "Well, actually," oh fuck. And I'm like, ah.
No, I mean, healthcare is a good answer because like I'm 25 and I have a problem with my heart, but no one will tell me. And I know this because like if I over caffeinate or like whenever I was vaping, like
or
if
understimulate.
Whenever I was vaping, like if I vaped too much, like the nicotine, like I felt it in my heart, like it was like my heart was being squeezed. And so I went to the doctor, to a specialist to get it checked out. I never fucking heard back. Never heard back.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And then even with COVID, like, and I can't exactly say I blame healthcare with COVID because I mean it's definitely like a lot on the plate, but it's like for me, whenever I had it, which was obviously last week, I was having respiratory issues, and it wasn't like I couldn't breathe, but it was like the breath that I was taking, I wasn't retaining. Like I had a severe lack of oxygen storage in my lungs, and I was like, "Hey, can I get some kind of inhaler?" And it wasn't until like this week that I got this is like, "Hey, your prescription's ready," and I didn't have a script card, so I was gonna have to pay out of pocket for it. And I was like, "You know what? Don't worry about it. I'm good."
Yeah, it's weird. I have I had a similar situation with me where, like, I just felt like my chest was, like, really heavy, you know? And I sort of had breathing problems, not really. They did a COVID test when I was in the ER, and everything came back negative or whatever, but still, it was just like, yeah, it just sucked that I went all the way there, spent all that time there, and then, yeah. Oh, the CAT scan, the CAT scan. So the CAT scan was a very interesting situation. If anybody has ever had one or had to at least have the contrast liquid put into you, you might know what I mean. But the nurse, she's like, okay, so they're going to put the contrast. It's going to feel really warm. It's going to feel like you peed yourself. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And sure enough, they start the contrast liquid, and I'm like, oh, that is an apt description. For some reason, it started in my nether regions. Even though it's going, like, through my arm, and my arm is like this, you know, so I can go into the CAT scan machine or whatever. For audio listeners, I had my hands above my head. But even though I had my hands behind, it still kind of went to my junk first. And then I could feel it going up my body, into my chest, into my head. It was like, ooh, hello. And then it went all the way down to my toesies, and it kind of stuck at my toesies for a little while. I was like, that's interesting. You know? But yeah, it just, God, it sucks so much. Because now, I mean, especially a CAT scan, that's like $2,000. That, you know, I don't know if we need... It's definitely debatable whether or not we need, like, free healthcare for all. I kind of believe that we do to a certain extent. You know, I don't think everybody should be able to, like, for instance, go get a CAT scan whenever they damn well feel like it. You know what I mean? But I do feel like there needs to be something. And the number one thing I would like to figure out is the pricing situation. You know, I'm going to get charged, for instance, maybe like $2,000, maybe even more for going in there and doing whatever. But it's like, how much does it actually cost to run that equipment? You know, it costs this much wattage. You know, well, how many pennies to the watt does it literally cost? And therefore, how much inflation is there? I guarantee you it's in the hundreds.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Whenever we would hear about COVID patients being treated who are having to stay in the hospital for that 2-week period. I mean, when you're talking about bills of close to $1 million or $2 million, it's like something's wrong there. Something's legitimately wrong there.
Yeah,
but
you're getting charged for like an upscale suite, like the presidential suite.
Right? Yeah, it's so fucking systematic, like racism. That it's like you can't figure out where to fix it because it's just like, you know. So yeah, healthcare in the U.S. fucking sucks. I mean, that's not. I don't think that's debatable in the slightest. But it's just figuring out how to fix it is the thing that's the biggest problem. But you want to know what sucked the most about COVID is, well, a lot of different things. Not breathing wasn't fun. But I almost feel because I lost my taste and smell. My smell's still not 100%. My taste is pretty much all but back.
Interesting.
But I almost feel like COVID dampens like the pleasure receptors in your brain. Because like I would tie smell and taste to that.
Okay, interesting.
In a way. But also like I wasn't in the mood to do or watch anything. Like I would put something on. I'm like, I'm losing interest. I would go to play Ghosts. I'm like, I'm losing interest. Yeah. And I had a couple moments where I was able to get through, and I am still almost done. I actually haven't played Ghost since we talked about it on button mashing. I haven't really had the time to, but it's like I got enough through where I'm like, okay, I have like 2 missions left. But you know, I know we watched a couple movies. I know we watched the Croods for the first time. When Chelsea first got sick, 'cause she wanted a feel good movie. And then of course we were watching WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Definitely an interesting ride.
Yeah. I'm still kind of up in the air about it. The first 2 episodes were basically like homages to 1950s, and so I really like that. And I feel like they stand alone. obviously the little teases at the end of each episode or throughout the second episode, for instance, the teases were nice, but the situational comedy and everything that was going on during the episode was entertaining enough to keep me entertained. And then episode 3, I would say not really. Like the
Episode
situation
3,
of like her getting pregnant and, you know, having the baby so quickly. Like it was just, there were some funny parts, but I just remember laughing or just enjoying myself in general more on episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1, I really, if we're comparing the 3 of them, I didn't care for. Because the cinematography of it, how close it was, like, you know, I Love Lucy kind of 50 shit. It was like, and you can definitely tell so the first one seems like a pilot. Like, it definitely seemed like a pilot because the second one had a lot more polish, it seemed, to it.
Okay.
But I feel like the third episode is really where it shifted, as far as, this is a Marvel, like, it was as Marvel as it could come.
Yeah.
And it was so impressive. The whole scene with Geraldine when she was like, first off, when she's talking about Pietro, and it was kind of one of those, I had to take a step back. I'm like, holy shit, she has not talked about Pietro since 2015, since Age of Ultron. Like, she hasn't brought him up. She hasn't mentioned anything about his death. It's just been like, go, go, go. And so I had to sit there for a minute and go over that. But like, just that entire scene when she's like, which, spoilers, obviously, if you haven't seen WandaVision. Yeah. He was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And like, her reaction, like, what did you say?
Yeah.
Now, I did watch an IGN video after the third episode, and basically what they were saying is, from what they're gathering, is that they are in a simulation that's created by Wanda, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
and it also makes sense because, when Vision, in the first episode when it was the beekeeper, and then the second episode when he started saying something and she didn't. Oh no, it was the second episode.
It was the third episode when he was like, Wanda, something's wrong here. And then it glitches back to the beginning of that conversation, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like she is the cause of it, whether or not she knows it or not. But then her reaction to Jubilee, or whatever the fuck her name is, her reaction to her was almost like she knows she's creating this world and she's executing this, or not, excommunicating this person from her reality, because she's like, no, you don't exist.
Yeah. What I think might be happening is, I think Wanda created this reality just out of what have you, and then Sword and Shield are trying to contain it and trying to monitor it.
That makes sense. And also, there are some theories saying that she didn't create the people in the place, but rather they were residents of Westview, because at the very end, when like the aspect ratio changes and everything, Westview is a real place here in the MCU real world, or whatever. That's what they open up on, is Westview, and it's like, okay, Westview's a real place, at least in the MCU. So did she take everyone from this city and put them in there, which then makes you question, what was the neighbor trying to say? He's like, we're all, and it's like, we're all pretending? Are we all pretending? Are we all fake? Like, it could go either way.
The three big questions that I have coming from this is one, who or what is Vision? Is Vision real?
Yeah.
Because we don't know. I mean, when the snap happened, or what do they call it?
The blip.
When the blip is reversed.
Well, no, it's the snap when it happens and the blip when they come back.
Okay, when they did the reverse snap and everyone came back, no mention of Vision. I mean, we saw Wanda, but we obviously don't know what's going on. Second question is, what's the deal with Sword? I know we saw the beginnings of them at the end of Far From Home, when we saw Fury out in space. That's the first time we saw Sword.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
And so I'm pretty sure Sword, and I'm not as familiar with the comics, but I think in this, it's like the second version of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a way.
Right.
This is more kind of overall universe-oriented. The second is, what is up with the Hydra commercial ads in between the episodes?
Yeah.
So it's like...
They were way more subtle about it in the first one. even though it was
Well,
called
they did Stark.
Yeah, Stark
Yeah.
in the first one. Then there was clearly a Hydra watch, and Stuber was the guy from Age of Ultron, the guy with the monocle. And then Hydra Soak or whatever. It's like that one's the most obvious of them all, obviously, and that makes sense because maybe as time is going on, like she's realizing certain stuff, so she's subconsciously putting things into the commercial.
Yeah.
And she's realizing, hey, this feels like what it was. Like maybe this is how they kind of brainwashed her in the original Age of Ultron. Maybe they did something like this to her. They gave her a drug, which made her go into her own alternate reality. So she's realizing this, and she's trying to connect the dots. And like, oh yeah, this is what happened when I was at Hydra.
Yeah. Well, apparently, from what people are saying, they're already showing a lot of signs of House of M storyline.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially with the birth of the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if this is how we see the manifestation of mutants.
Yeah. Right.
Like instead of killing all of them, she creates them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I could see that because we have to have some kind of inciting incident, so to speak, for there to suddenly be mutants, or we're gonna have a weird, half-ass explanation of, oh yeah, they've been here the whole time, but we've been keeping them secret. Like bullshit.
Well, for me with WandaVision, like I'm liking what they're doing so far. It's the first Marvel new stuff that we have seen since Endgame came out.
Yeah, can you believe it's been over a year?
Far From Home, yeah.
Yeah. It's been over a year since we had. Like, I didn't realize it until I saw it online. Like, oh yeah, it's been a freaking year.
Yeah.
We're so used to being inundated with 3 Marvel movies a year. Like, they got us used to that drip, just and then all of a sudden they just cut the drip off, and we're just like, what's going on, man? Come on.
Well, that's why I like the third episode so much, is because the first 2 I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. We're setting the groundwork. This isn't really scratching that itch. I'm just leaving more questions. But after the third, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Okay, this is where it started. But I like how fast it's going too. At the third episode, I'm glad that they're not dragging it out.
For sure, yeah. So I would still argue that maybe the first episode and the second episode could have been molded together, so that rather than that we just have 2 episodes, because it's the first episode was really just almost sitcom the whole entire time. The second episode is when we started to see the cracks, and then the third episode is the cracks are getting bigger. You know, and I don't know. The thing is that to a certain extent we're almost spoiled by Netflix, because we're so used to just being able to binge everything. So it's if I just binge this from start to end, would I feel differently about the entire experience? You know what I mean?
I feel like it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I feel like it because I relate all the Disney Plus stuff. I think it's going to have the same quality as The Mandalorian, maybe in a different way. Mm. And I think that The Mandalorian was so much more impactful because it was episodic, because you had time to mull over what's going on.
Yeah, I do have to admit that returning to a certain extent, returning to where we get to watch stuff weekly, I really like. Because I plowed through Witcher so quickly that there were certain things that I didn't pick up on. I had to go watch a YouTube channel just to see, oh, this happened. And I wasn't even looking for answers necessarily. It's just that I didn't pick up on that shit.
No,
I didn't pick up that there were 3 fucking timelines going on. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. See, and I that's why I haven't finished Witcher yet, is because I got to the point where I was like, I understand, but I'm still fucking lost, and I got distracted by something else. But yeah, now that I know what I'm looking at, I'm probably just gonna, because I think I was only 5 episodes in.
Yeah.
So I might just go back and just rewatch them. Because I remember distinctly, and with movies and TV shows, I pay attention to a lot of shit. I break them down in my head automatically. But I remember specifically watching the 3rd episode, and it was the one, I think it was the 3rd episode, the one whenever he's fighting the womb demon, and it shows there's a dinner party, and it's showing the child version of the guy that we were just talking about, and I'm like, son of a bitch, they're jumping around timelines.
Yeah.
I was like, that explains a lot. And then even after that, I was like, okay, so wait, which timeline are we in?
Yeah. I don't know if they really portrayed that enough, because...
Do you think if I would have played at least 2 or 3, I would understand how they did, or was that just a bad choice?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure that like the king and stuff like that carries over, but then does the same storyline carry over? And then the same thing for the books. Maybe it's closer to the books, and so by playing the games, you didn't actually get that close to the actual story. Who knows?
Maybe.
So, yeah. So, welcome to the streaming broadcast. So we're gonna take our first break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about news and stuff. Am I right?
You are right.
Yeah, I am.
Climb the murder on the beat. There are murders on the street. This is for people who hate me and who put it on repeat. Fuck you single, I make 30 in a week. Yeah, I'm shitting on a mic. Hello.
We're gonna have to keep it on this one because I forgot to get it ready, which means I'd have to like turn my. Hold on, maybe I can. We're doing it live. Hi everybody, welcome back to Nerd Radio and your weekly nerdy news. Nothing ever has gone wrong on this channel whatsoever. Don't worry, we're professionals. Alright, let's get to our news of the week. This is the weekly nerdy news, not the hourly or the daily. This is weekly. So it could have happened on Monday all the way to Sunday. Okay. All right, WB offering bonuses for people affected by streaming. This is interesting. This is also something you should have fucking said from the beginning. Because I remember a huge outcry of the people on the goddamn movie. Like, hold on, we're not going to the movie theaters? Could you have at least given us a heads up? And I think that's probably the most, like, fucked up part about it, is just like, oh, yeah, I guess. And like, I don't know. I feel for them. At the same time, they're doing exactly what I was talking about, which was basically like, hey, why don't we just go to a streaming service? Like, I legitimately, like, this isn't me, like, pleading ignorance or whatever. I legitimately don't understand, like, the logistics or whatever. Like, is it better to have, let's be conservative and try to say maybe, like, 200 million people watch it on a streaming service, or 100 million people watch it in the box office?
So the only thing business-wise that would make sense to me on this is because it always comes into, like, when you bring it to, like, PlayStation Plus, for example, people are always like, how are the developers making money if they put it for free on the PlayStation Plus store? Well, obviously, they pay the studio and help finance. What I think, because I've been trying to wrap my head around, because I do think that this year, that 2021, possibly even 2020, is the start of going away from the movie theater and movies actually streaming from production to the consumer. I genuinely think that. So I've been trying to wrap my head around that. And the thing that I could come up with is, yes, people buying tickets, for these one-time movies, and people see movies multiple times, but the way they look at the box office to measure success, I think, could be switched to amount of subscribers. Because if you think about it, if everyone who's going to pay basically the same price for this movie is paying $20 for the service, or however much it's going to be, more than likely you're going to get them as a reoccurring customer. So that's 20 more additional dollars every month instead of, So
yeah, it definitely makes me wonder, especially with Netflix, especially with like things like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold games or whatever, especially if they're released first on those different platforms. How do they figure out how much they get paid? Like, is it literally just a one-time, okay, here's $1 million, let us put your indie title or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't think we would have made anywhere close to $1 million. Hell yeah, you can take it. Or is it like, here's a little bit up front, and then based on how many people download or watch your movie on your platform, you will get a portion of that month's subscriptions. Like, that's the way I think it should be. Like, Spotify is probably a really good example where there's supposed to be ads on it. If you don't want ads, you pay for a premium subscription. Now, based on how popular a song is, some of that money goes to the artist. So I think that that's how Netflix and or PlayStation Plus should work. But at the same time, none of that, I don't think, has ever really been fully discussed as to how it works out, how the money nets out and everything like that. So yeah, it's such a weird situation, because like me and probably you, now that you had COVID, like we're super glad that we can just stay home and watch Kong versus Godzilla, or freaking Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. We didn't get around to watching Wonder Woman, and I don't know if we will tonight. Well, let me see, because I would think it would be until midnight the day of, but maybe, let me check.
Either way, point being is that it's such a weird situation we're in. I prefer it this way, but at the same time, seeing Endgame, seeing The Force Awakens in theaters was an experience. It was an experience that I really enjoyed. People yelling and screaming and just like the absolute, not only that, but no spoilers and things like that.
Yeah. And like Star Wars movies too, when we went to go see, The Rise of Skywalker, the entire theater was disappointed by the very end of that movie, and so it was a shared experience.
we're miserable together, damn it. So we're in such a weird place. At the same time, thank you, WB, for at least pulling your head out of your ass and being like, oh yeah, maybe we should compensate them or whatever. So yeah. All right, moving on up. Amazon's Invincible gets a release date. Oh my god, March 26th. We're getting Invincible. If you don't know why I'm excited, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is the second most popular Robert Kirkman deal. Do me a favor. Go and Google yourself a little Amazon Invincible cast and just look at all the flippin' people.
So this I saw, and I'm doing it as we speak. Invincible. When you tweeted this picture out, I knew a large portion that was going to be here. Like, I knew that Mark Hamill was in it. I knew J.K. Simmons was in it. I didn't know that Steven Yeun, who played Glenn from The Walking Dead, is supposed to be Invincible. So that was interesting. But yeah, no, this is an absolute stellar cast. J.K. Simmons, there's Omni-Man, Sandra Oh, Grey's Anatomy, Debbie Grayson. She's the mom, which I feel like is okay. Like, I liked the mom character from. I think I read the first two of Invincible. I haven't read the full series, but I love.
What did I do?
Jason. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's the guy from
J.K.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. No, Jason.
Jason Mantzoukas. Mantzoukas. Something like that, yeah.
The fact that he's I saw that, I was like, okay, yes, he's going to be my favorite character.
Now, one thing, if you are a fan of Robert Kirkman, therefore Walking Dead, you got Steven Yeun. You got
yeah. Where's she
Maggie?
at?
Where's Maggie at?
Yeah, where is Maggie?
Where are you, Maggie?
Lauren Cohen. She's War Woman.
There she is. Lauren Cohen. Also, Sonoika Martin Green.
And Michael Cutlets.
Cutlets.
And you also got John Hamm.
Oh, Ross Mark, whatever the fuck his name is. He did Red Skull, because he's a really really fucking good. Lenny James, which is Marcus from whatchamacallit. So it's like you can tell that Robert Kirkman definitely, and obviously if you look it up, Robert Kirkman has a big part in this. And you can tell just by the fucking cast, like Robert Kirkman likes these people, and he's like, hey, you want to come do a cartoon? And they're like, sure, why not? It's fucking quarantine.
Yeah, fuck it. That's fine.
Fuck it, what do I care? But then they even have, like, the guy who played Worf. They have Clancy fucking Brown. Like, anytime you need a deep, booming voice, or Mr. Krabs, you go to this guy. Zachary Quinto, which, I love him from Heroes. I didn't really like him in, Star Trek or whatever, but he did good with what he had. Like I said, they have Domino, which is Zazie Beetz. Is that a real name? Like, that's a badass name. Like,
did you also notice Chad Coleman?
Which one's Chad?
Chad Coleman is going to play Martian Man, but I didn't recognize him by his name. He's Tyrese.
He's fucking Tyrese. See what I mean? There's so many alumni. Oh, and Michael Cutlitz. That's the guy you were talking about.
Yeah,
okay, I found him. Yeah,
do you also know
half of this cast is nothing but Walking Dead.
Yeah. Do you know who Chad Coleman also played?
Who?
My friends call me Coach. From Left 4 Dead 2. I never knew that. I just saw that. Yeah, he plays Coach.
That's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great cast. That is a phenomenal cast.
Freaking what's his face? Jonathan Groff. The main thing I know him from is he's Mindhunter, but he's also the king in Hamlet, and I fucking love him.
Jeffrey Donovan too. I forgot about that one.
Which one?
Jeffrey Donovan.
Who's that?
He's from Burn Notice.
I like him.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good people.
A lot of really good people. Fucking Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
So fucking white.
Mahershala Ali.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's
My
another
white lips are just like... Anyways, yeah, good fucking cast. And just like I said in the tweet, like, I was excited about this regardless. So part of me, I think, was just not really looking up that much information, because just the fact that there was an Invincible freaking TV show is like sold. I've read through, I wouldn't say all of them, but a very good portion of them. Like, for all those who might know what I'm talking about, when you find out the home planet of Invincible and you find out what the ring is made out of, super messed up. Oh my god. So I'm so excited, but we can move on. The Last of Us gets a new director. Apparently the guy who did Chernobyl, they lost him. So then they ended up getting another Russian guy. Let's see. Filmmaker Kantemir Balagov. If that's not a Russian name, I don't know what is. The only thing that maybe sort of sucks about this is that I have heard absolutely nothing but good stuff about Chernobyl. Whereas this guy, I literally have no idea who the hell he is. I don't think it's here. It might be on this article, but they said that he's worked on blank before, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. So, like, I have no frame of reference. Chernobyl, and there was something else. It wasn't just Chernobyl. It was something else, and so I had a frame of reference, even if it was just through the zeitgeist or whatever. So
the only thing that I would say, that, because I'm the same with you, I have no idea who this guy is. Right. But he is, it seems like, a younger face in filmmaking. So
True.
He could bring some sort of modernistic sense to The Last of Us that maybe we wouldn't have gotten before.
Yeah.
And so I'm I'm not like upset by this at all, but I'm like, okay, let's see. Let's go.
So there's a good chance, like you said, because he's so young, that he is absolutely enamored with The Last of Us, and therefore we will get one of the most true adaptations that we could have gotten. So that really makes me feel good. Not that old people don't play video games. I mean, look at me. But I'm just saying, like, this guy being as young as he, or young looking, I guess. So I don't know how freaking old he is. But yeah, that's good, you know. I don't know why they went with two Russian filmmakers. Like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm cool with that vibe, honestly.
I'm just kidding. All right. Moving on up. Can you believe it? Tim Allen revealed that there is an update for a script of Galaxy Quest. I mean, it's only been, what, 20 years? 1999. Wow. 21 years since that. Still a freaking classic.
22 years.
Well, that's a good point. Math is hard, people. Okay.
Yeah, it is hard.
Until you put yourself behind the mic, you don't get to judge.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back as an adult and rewatch Galaxy Quest. I remember last time I saw it was probably like, I mean, I was a teenager,
Right?
Because we watched a lot growing up, but I haven't seen it, I don't think, as an adult with the mindset I have now. So
Right.
going back, because I just thought this was like a more fun version of Star Trek whenever I was a kid.
Yeah,
And it is, but it's like I didn't understand the farcical nature of it where I would now.
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing about it is that the movie essentially starts with them going to a con that's just for Galaxy Quest or whatever, and so they're kind of satirizing but also placating to the, the nerd culture or whatever. And the funny thing is that this has a huge cult following to it. So, I mean, that alone almost makes it like, well, why did it take so darn long,
Yeah, but this is one of those that I think this was supposed to be a flash in the pan movie,
Right.
and if they wanted to do something to add on to it, they wanted to make sure it was good, not bad. So I would say hopefully that is the case with this, because they've had a pretty good track record with these remakes and reboots and extended sequels. So
Right.
hopefully,
Yeah, hopefully. And last of all, speaking of WB and whatnot, Godzilla vs. Kong is set to go to HBO Max and the theater at the same time. There's probably a huge list, but that's like the newest one that was announced, so I thought that was definitely worth talking about. So, and now we have.
Yeah, and they put out some footage, like a little bit from, and it looks cool. Like, I'm excited because here's this thing. I'm excited about this too because I still have to see Godzilla King of Monsters.
Of course you fucking do.
And Kong. I haven't seen Kong either.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I know. They're both on HBO.
Kong Skull Island.
They're both on HBO Max now, so it's much easier. But yeah, we never made it to the theater and then never paid the money for it.
So yeah. It's a good film. I know a lot of people didn't like the second one. I hate when this happens, I hate when I hear the zeitgeist and I hear like, oh my god, the second one was so much worse or whatever, and then I watch it and I'm just like, it's not that bad. Like was it better than the first? No. And I think so many people,
but the first one's so quality,
I guess, but I feel like a lot of people just get this mindset that everything has to be 100%, otherwise it's a bad movie. And it's like, no, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
If you like Godzilla, then there he is and they're fighting each other, and like, I don't know, it's just sometimes it's just so confusing why people.
I think for the first one, what it was so serious, and it was more a human story than a Godzilla story.
Right.
And then they probably got critiques saying, hey, you should put more monsters in there, like you didn't have enough monsters. And then they did the sequel, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's too much monsters, too much whatever," because that was a lot of shit that I saw. It wasn't story follow, but
Right.
But
yeah. That's all of the entertainment news for now. Let's go to another music break when we get into our video game news, so we can talk about some Resident Evil. Resident Evil. Yeah, that old thing. And go.
Words are hard.
Making a title sequence.
Go home. Got my head spinning like a cyclone. Need a moment to get away. Leave it all behind and just get away.
Hey everybody, how's it going? We're back, and apparently we have some breaking news brought to my attention by the late, the great, the Nate.
The Nate the Great. Brought to you by Nate the Great.
Apparently Godzilla vs. Kong just dropped a trailer like an hour ago. So we're going to try to get that up and running. Godzilla versus Kong.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with that.
Bachelor is back. Stream it.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting up. There's a Bachelor trailer. Okay, here we go. Let's get ready. I'm at 0.
Yep.
Let me get it. I'll do like half the volume or whatever. Get it in down. We'll do 6. There you go. Ah, I hate when I do that. Okay, we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, on 1, 2, 3.
This is our only chance.
I think that was Mechagodzilla. That looked like Mechagodzilla.
What?
We have to take it.
He's a sheepy guy.
We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with.
What?
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go,
James
so
Bond.
I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oh. What's got Godzilla pissed off, though? I feel like he didn't really fuck with people. Oh! Money shot. Ooh!
Oh!
Whoa!
These are dangerous times. Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
Okay, okay.
It's the real.
A little bit of explanation there.
There was a war.
Do you have just an axe or something? Oh, Jesus!
They're the last ones standing.
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it.
Interesting.
Who bows to who?
Nobody gonna stop for me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Oh! Damn! Get wrecked!
That looks genuinely badass.
Damn. Okay. Like that's what you call it? That's what like King of Monsters should have been. Just like some badass. Which I guess
Yeah.
from the trailers they kind of already were. So maybe we're getting duped.
That was badass. That was way better than I was expecting, though.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So now that our blood pressure's up, dicks are nice and hard, let's get to the video game news.
So Nikki's gonna have to explain this one to me. About thinking about the children.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, basically a report came out said that kids are playing more video games during COVID. To which I would have to say,
Yeah.
but of course
that's
they'd
gonna
say
be inappropriate.
it's a think piece, you know, like our kids playing too much video games. And it's like, fuck off,
What else are
Ian.
they gonna do in quarantine? What else are they gonna do? Seriously. But one of the main ones, starting off, we got the gameplay reveal for Resident Evil 8.
Or like Resident Evil Yeet.
This one's the perfect
Yeet!
gift for the friend
Resident
who's
Evil
been getting
Village.
a little too comfortable.
And like again, as you can expect, I didn't actually see the reveal for this. All I've seen is the big titty vampire lady that the internet won't shut up
Well,
about.
would you like to live react to that then? And by live, I mean, you know, you're going to be listening to this later.
Yeah.
All right, I'm at 0. You ready?
Okay.
All right. On 1, 2, 3. I can't believe they did the world premiere. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This ain't the
Yeah.
Game Awards or E3.
RIP E3.
Just like in Resident Evil 7 Biohazard,
So I feel like right off the bat, this looks already prettier than Biohazard.
Keep in mind, though, we're probably watching the PlayStation 5
Players
version.
will need to get in and search for their kidnapped daughter.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Notice by now, Resident Evil Village keeps the first person.
Shut up.
We think it really draws players into the detailed world.
I do love that this really reminds me of like Resident Evil 4 and like the mansion and whatever. Like it's really good Resident Evil 4 vibes. And considering what the next story is, like.
What do you mean the next story?
You'll see a lot of those little details come to life here.
Oh, like in this one? I thought you were talking about one after. That's why I was confused. Yeah, just a lot of I mean, it's very like one thing that turned me off from Biohazard is the grime aesthetic. Like I hated how much it was like dirt and filth.
From art design to technology, everything ties
now it's not filth,
and
it's
creates
purdy.
Beautiful visuals.
They're going white people and their rich plantations.
Are these the goth chicks?
Yeah.
Denizens. As you'd expect, a warm welcome's not really what's in store for Ethan.
Oh fuck.
Man blood.
All right, is everybody thirsty enough?
Let's take a look at him. Wow.
Oh, that's she big.
She big, yo.
You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you? Let's see how special you
All I can say is, I'm special.
Shifting gears,
I'm special.
finally going to show off some combat.
Fuck yeah, you are. Which, spoiler alert, it's almost exactly like 7. Like
It's not just about shooting. Guarding will also be an important part of the game.
What the fuck does that do?
I know, right? It's kind of dumb.
Each type of enemy has their own distinct way of fighting. So
Oh,
you can
dude.
change up your strategy
God.
to defeat them.
Fucking father time over there.
Everyone knows what to do with red barrels, right?
No. Oh,
Tell
that's
us.
what happens? Thank God he was
You
here.
missed the red barrel.
Remember a similar
I
matching
know,
system in
right?
Resident Evil 4.
It's
This time around,
like that
we've added
Cuphead
crafting,
reveal where
which
they're like
allows you
doing the
to create
gameplay and the guy
items such
can't
as first aid
figure
and
out how to
ammo.
do stuff.
Well, that's cool. The
There's
crafting part.
also an assortment of weapons to find and utilize throughout the game.
Yes.
I've been waiting for you, Mr. Winter.
Oh my god.
How do you know my name? Anyone has heard of the likes of you.
The merchant makes a return. This time he's known as the Duke. You'll be going to him to buy and sell
Yes,
weapons,
Duke.
amongst other things.
I think it's funny how
The
they
director wanted to give him a unique look,
they,
and
they
you'll often
replaced
find him
the
in different
"What are you
situations
boying?"
each time
with
you
a big
encounter him.
old fat guy, and
He's
we're
an
expecting
interesting
him to
fellow.
get around as magically as the other guy did.
Smash away with your trusty knife. There's plenty of items to find in your travels.
Okay, we can be done. All this stuff is
Yeah,
actually
what's-
pretty
yeah.
fucking boring. Like, I can't believe they thought this was a good idea to show this off. Like, hey guys, look, you can break stuff. Unlike any other Resident Evil ever in the history of ever. This is the very first time you've ever been able to do it. Like, come on, guys.
This is legitimately kind of like I'm interested in the game, but that showcase is definitely boring.
Yeah, like did they literally just not have anything else to show us? Like, show us more of that big hammer guy. Show us more of like the dark.
Show us the
dungeon.
enemies.
Yeah, like that's what I'm interested. But like, hey, you can have your trusty knife.
And you can break things. But keeping on with Resident Evil, it looks like Resident Evil 4 Remake has been delayed. Looks like it's due to a development overhaul. This comes from GameSpot.
Yeah. Hopefully
Which-
that overhaul is to get rid of Ashley. Or
Don't
at least
understand.
overhaul Ashley's mechanics. Because, I mean, let's face it, my wife is just horrible person.
I was about to say, I was like, oh, where's this going? But yeah, it looks like they're changing direction of the remake for.
Wait, so if you push forward, will you be going backwards then?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
They said that Resident Evil 4 has been in development since 2018,
Right.
which I find very interesting as well. So from 2018, it's now 2021. It's like, okay, so what could, I mean, it doesn't really go into detail what that overhaul is.
Right. I mean, this goes to the thought that obviously Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 were all basically being worked on at the same time, possibly by different divisions of the same company and everything. There was a lot of people speculating that we were going to see the reveal, whether it be like a one more thing at the end or something like that. So this came out like, I think either a couple hours later or like a day later. And it's like, yeah, so basically there probably was going to be a reveal, even if it was just like the logo or something. But then they're like, shit, we probably shouldn't get people's hopes up.
Yeah. But it's in development. So it's just, I think they said that the push date was like to 2023, which I think is fine. If we're getting Resident Evil 8, give it a year without a Resident Evil. That way you're not serializing like you used to. I think that works out well. Right. Now, unfortunately, in more unfortunate news, it looks like Tony Hawk and Crash Insane Trilogy developers have been swallowed up by Activision. So, I mean, let's start it off. Nick, what do you think about that?
Well, I think I do speak for everybody when I say...
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah. I'm not really going to say... Yeah. I'm really indifferent about this, honestly. But I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
No, God, no. Man, I mean, I'm kind of speechless at it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not surprising because Activision loves to do this. They love to, take up these studios and have them, be for Activision specifically. Yeah. But there was something that was really nice about Insane Trilogy and Pro Skater 1 and 2 of the fact that they weren't like Activision didn't have their hand in the cookie jar as far as, if that makes sense. Like it seemed like there was the independent nature still of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's the part. I guess like we should have saw it coming because Crash is technically an Activision property now, and then they ended up doing Tony Hawk or whatever. So it's like I guess we should have saw that company coming or whatever. But at the same time, it's just like I really wish they didn't have to. From a business standpoint, I'm sure Vicarious Vision is happy to have the money and, the security that comes with it. But at the same time, like EA is also really bad at sucking up good studios and then just basically being like, oh, well, we tried. Even though, like, did you really? Like, like another Visceral, like freaking Visceral Games, the makers of Dead Space. They finally swallowed them up and like they weren't even really able to put out a game and they're like, boom, you're out of here. It's like, God damn, guys, like give it some time, geez. Yeah. So I don't know if this is necessarily good news. It's good once again from a business standpoint. They hopefully have at least some kind of security, whether it be a 5-year contract, 10-year contract, something. They have some type of security where through this X amount of years, you will be fine. You're going to be okay. But who knows? It could also be an EA situation where they had Star Wars for the longest time, and they only put out like 3 games, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, and Star Wars Fallen Order, right? You only put out 3 freaking games unless you don't count all the freaking mobile games, obviously, which...
Well, Squadrons...
Squadrons. Okay, so 4. All right. Yeah. You got me on a technicality. But either way, now we get the news that instead of, Star Wars being chokeholded... See what I did there? By EA... Holded, yeah. Shut up. Holden McGroin. Instead of that, now we're getting one from what was it, Ubisoft, and one from
Ubisoft and like the the team specifically from The Division.
Well, yeah, massive. So yeah, Division and Division. But there was another company that announced it. Oh, Bethesda. Bethesda's doing a freaking Indiana Jones one or whatever. So now we have this new company called like Lucas Games or whatever, and it's like now they're just giving it to people they expect to do good games, rather than continuing to let EA fuck it up. So I'm super excited. Like, that's good news because they're taking a license or something, taking good creators and let them do good. Versus this is they're taking a good creators and it's like now you're bottlenecked. You know?
Yeah.
The Star Wars things was like, you know, it was opening. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is very bottleneck. Like, okay, yeah, now you have to do things a very certain way, and if you don't, you're gonna probably be out of here.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is like within the past couple of years, how many Activision layoffs were there?
Yeah, right.
For studios that weren't performing, you know, to Activision standards. So it's like that would be very unfortunate because with Insane Trilogy, like it was just out of nowhere. This team is fucking phenomenal with what they can do, and you know, I a lot of people really enjoyed Pro Skater 1 and 2, which is one I still need to pick up. I'm hoping at this point that it'll come to Plus.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's been enough time. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this is good news and not bad. But
yeah, hopefully, yeah. I mean, Activision, at least from the last Call of Duty, of course, we could go on and on about like the skill-based matchmaking, but at least from like a consumer perspective, like making Call of Duties from this point on essentially just be all one thing where you can carry your battle pass from one game to the other. That's a very consumer friendly thing. Not only that, but it does seem like they've gotten rid of season passes. They are going maybe a little harder into the microtransactions, but since they're all mainly cosmetics and they're really focusing on battle passes and they've basically realized that that's what's getting them the most money, that does sort of give me pause to go, okay, this could end up being good. But it's still just that little voice in the back of your head that's just like, yeah, but it's Activision. So it'd be the same thing if it happened to EA. It's just like, oh no, EA done it. So yay.
Yeah. You know, going to when you're talking about Star Wars, one that got me thinking about, closing with studios, Visceral. I think the last game Visceral made was Army of Dead, Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel.
Woohoo!
It did not perform. So
yeah, but how much of that was?
That game was shit. That game took what was great about Army of Two and made it worse.
Yeah. Exactly, and how much of that was really their fault versus like we want this type of game, deliver us this type of game, you know. So yeah. So I think that's the show. Yeah, that's the show. Yeah. You agree? All right. Remember, this show was brought to you by ThreadX3 Productions. Make sure to go to ThreadX3 Productions on YouTube to get previews, reviews, nerd radio clips, and more. Also, go to all your platforms where you can get ThreadX3 Productions, and you can get Nerd Radio and Button Mashing and Zomcast in audio form without all the music and no filler, just all balls. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll end the stream out with some nice music, and you guys have yourself a good day. I was Nick.
I was Nate.
And why do I always do this? Get ready with music, then go into your outlog. Okay, bye guys.